Sunday, that's my fun day. I don't know how that it actually goes music wise, but that's from Manic Monday, written by Purple Rain. I think sung by the Bangles. But it says Sunday, that's my fun day, but I'm not having any fun. Um, yeah, I have to rewatch it, but um, I saw my sister for the first time in almost 3 years um, last night, so I'm naturally sick because my family don't get it. It's like their needs are more important than mine, and I got thrown into a bad situation. And I figure like you don't want to get too personal on here, but at the same time, I don't really care. Like at this point, if my whole family kicks me to the curb, I don't want to be alone in the world, you know. But it's just I'm pretty much alone in the world anyway. It's like they don't understand. I can kind of understand no matter how much. I mean, I do explain the situation to them, that they're actually hurting me and that, but they indulge in certain behaviors that impair judgment, because people think of this as innocuous. And anytime you're changing your brain chemistry, you're changing your perception of reality. It's yeah, and then it's not so much if you do that kind of shit and you're like stay in your house, watch a movie, bullshit around with friends. But if you try to do something serious while you're in an impaired state, it's not a good plan. Okay. So I have to look at the video that I made immediately afterwards and see what it's like and see if I want to post it or not from last night. I mean, I don't know what to do. This is just my therapy. So, because um, you can watch me talk to myself and try to talk myself through this living hell that I've been plunged into. Um, that's what I've been doing for since January of 2018. The dog is really upset upstairs right now. It's having a harder time than me apparently because it's howling. It's been very quiet lately, but it's not howling. But it's now howling, but it hasn't been doing this kind of shit, so it's probably left alone. That's generally how dogs are pack animals. They don't like to be left alone. That's why they chew your shoes or piddle on the floor or act up or howl and bother the people. So Sunday's not my fun day. Sunday's the day that I get to listen to an animal howl with my nerves raw after some emotional nonsense last night. And I guess I could turn on the air conditioner. I had it off out of respect for y'all because it shows up to cover up the dog that you can't hear with the air conditioner that you can hear. Maybe I can try to put it on low. But yeah, that's a horrible sound to hear animals suffering, even if it's just emotional suffering. Because I don't remember what writer said this, but no, not a writer, a comedian said this. George Carlin said, all the world's in a dog's eyes. In other words, like the whole range of emotions of what existence is expressed in a dog's eyes. And they're very emotional creatures. As anybody that's ever been around dogs, and I'm not a dog guy. I don't really like dogs because they make too much noise. So I don't have anything personal against them. They just make too much fucking noise. And I'm good with dogs. Um, like for instance, this dog that's howling upstairs when it was a puppy was really skittish around everybody but me that was in the building. And because I understand dog psychology, I'm not stupid. Uh, I buddied up to it much quicker than other people that are like, "Hey, how you doing?" and they go up to a dog, which is an aggressive motion. And so the dog's like, "What the fuck? Get out of my face!" And he's just like, "Hey man, what's up?" You talk nice to them and see if they want to come over to you, and you let them make the first move, and then you don't raise your hand to them. You keep your hand down. It's all basic stuff. But you gotta understand, like my dad kept hunting dogs, so I was taking care of anywhere from 4 to 10 dogs for years when I was growing up. Uh, there were so many dogs, as a matter of fact, that I had to carry like um, 8 and 10 gallon buckets of water back to them to get them all watered, if I remember correctly. Whatever those big white buckets are, I think they're either 8 gallon or 10 gallon buckets. Um, but anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's just my living circumstances. And I heard a different kind of howling up there last night because somebody finally got laid in this building. Good for them, but I hope it's not a regular thing. I mean, kind of musical sounding. I don't know who was up there getting it on, but it wasn't like, huh, okay. Because some people can sound really badly when they're doing that particular thing. And anyways, they used to like that one couple up there. It sounded like a crime was being committed. That was fun to listen to. Um, but yeah, like I said, I've been. Luckily for me, my appointment, I was confused. It was for Monday. It was actually for Tuesday, and I rescheduled. So now my air conditioner sounds, it's making weird noises because it's old. Like me, I would be making weird noises because I'm old. I hate to hear a dog make those noises. But I'll risk it. Um, but yeah, anyways, my appointment was for the 8th. I rescheduled it for the 22nd, and I'll have to cancel one of my aid worker days because I had trouble with the scheduling lady. She's like, "That's what I'm trying to tell you. The guy that you want to see is only in the office on Tuesday and Thursday." I said any day but Tuesday or Thursday because those are my aid worker days. So I have to cancel one of those. Another fun thing that happened is I sent a package to Zanesville, Ohio. Um, that I think the guy paid about $120 for it, but it's marked delivered, and he's telling me he didn't get it. So not sure what to do in that situation. I could be like other sellers have been to me and say like, tough titty, and says deliver. You got it. Somebody probably stole it because you live in an apartment building. I had that circumstance happen uh, with a guy, and what I did was I just bought something from him, and he acted like, "Hey, not my problem." So I waited until he bought something off of me, and I was like, "Hey, this is the same guy that copped an attitude with me, and I know my shit didn't get stolen because I used to have like a screen door, and it was really hard to open, and it was in the wintertime, and I'm stuck in the house, and the mailman, because my mailbox was too small, would just throw packages in the door and then shut the screen door, and he always came at the same time, unlike the mail here. So he didn't have any. I don't know if he had any tracking on it. He just told me that it was delivered. I don't remember, but I remember he bought something off of me, and I just didn't send it and kept his money and said, "Hey, it's delivered. Maybe somebody stole it," and he got it. He's like, "Oh, so that's the way you are, huh?" And I'm like, "Yep," but I didn't act any differently than he acted. I just threw it back at him so that I couldn't be accused of anything. Um, but this is a lot of money. This is like at least $120 that I'm not refunding him his money, but I will have to dig into my cards and lose money on cards and send him more cards. Um, I know I didn't screw up the address because I'm real OCD about the addresses. Like, I screwed up sending him his tracking number, but that's 22 digits. It's on a little receipt next to other numbers. So there's a big difference between looking at tiny little numbers and there's 22 of them than like, you can enlarge your computer screen and, checking an address. I can even, it's Jonathan Lane, Suite B. I can even like remember it from memory because I check them like 3 times because I'm just like that. So I know I didn't send it to the wrong address. The post office has it marked as delivered. So what am I gonna do? I'm thinking like this guy is kind of weird. So I'm kind of like thinking uh, maybe he's screwing me over. You know, I don't know because you can see like on a package whether it's insured or not. Now I would be within my rights to like keep his money and just tell eBay like, look, I got proof and shit, but then I'll get a negative. They got no control over the feedback situation, and I got a lot of stuff to sell. I'm sorry. I always get on here and my voice turns to crap. But yeah, that's fun. I got the one problem with work being worried about being booted off eBay altogether, and now I got a delivered package that this guy is telling me he's not delivered. That's worth over $120. You know, I'm not giving him his money back, but I probably wind up giving him more cards, uh, and they're not cheap cards. But I have to watch that other video and make sure, because I was like fresh off the incident. And I'm like, goddamn family, man, can't live with them, can't kill them. And the worst part of it is like they mean well. They just don't listen, and hopefully not, or something worse. But who knows? I mean, I don't know. I've watched family snort coke many times off of glass. I actually interrupted that just by doing a pop in back in the '90s, and coke on the glass. And they were like, "Well, you got your screen door open and you're snorting coke off of a mirror." And yeah, you didn't. I even like incorporated that into an unfinished novel. That scene where I'm like knocking on the door, and then like when my eyes adjust to what's going on in there, they let me in. I could see, I saw the mirror and the coke, and then like it disappeared. They invited me in. It's like, hello, I'm Captain Buzzkill. I'm here to ruin your day and make you all nervous and fidgety because there was like people there I didn't know, people there that were relatives. Um, but yeah, I'm not going to say anything more about the coke sniffing thing, but it's yeah, one of the saddest things I've ever seen. Not the incident where I like did the pop in, but another incident that I'm referring to. And then like I watched another family member doing bath salts, which is basically like um, meth. I don't know if they figured out like they figured out a way that they could take a product that people abuse and is really destructive for you, like meth, and market it as bath salts. But people don't use it as bath salts. I don't know if you know this or not. I don't know if I'm going to be able to talk on here. And so, well, the guy was going to snort it in my house, and out of respect to me, he said, I can do this in the car. And I'm like, it really doesn't matter. I mean, you're going to do it no matter what. you don't have to go out to your car. So I watched him snort bath salts, and he got all messed up on that shit. Um, to the point where he was taking it at work, and he had like a vial of it. You know, like them Coke vials. He had like a vial, but it was of bath salts, and he was snorting it at work. And he was doing it in a bathroom stall, and it was like a scene out of a movie. He dropped it, and it rolled out from underneath the bathroom stall. And he was like, "Man, I think somebody's out there." I don't remember the rest of the story. I know he didn't get caught. Uh, yeah, he was doing a job that he was way overqualified for. Um, I remember that. So he was a super employee, but super employee or not, if you get caught snorting bath salts at work, I'm thinking you're not gonna have a job. So yeah, but yeah, he described that scene to me like that dude had a problem with multiple substances. I mean, I think the only thing he didn't do was heroin, and I was in a car with him, and that's my story in my thousands of videos where I'm in a car with the dude, and I'm just trying to return, I think, a VCR, or I think this is like before like DVDs and shit. But the store was closed, and I'm in the car with, and we're parked like behind like a Best Buy parking lot in this mall area, and there's a woman in there. Her name was D. I can say her name because it's a street name anyway. Her name was D, and he was there, and they out come the crack pipe, and they're smoking crack, and she's going to pass it to me, and I'm like, no, I don't do that stuff. And she was like, too bad, you could have had yourself a master blaster. And I'm like, I could have been like a midget on top of a tall guy's shoulders. And Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, I had no idea what a master blaster was, and because the neighborhood I was in, it was very easy to find out. And it's like, oh, she meant that master blaster meant that I could uh, blast and get high, and she gave me a blowjob at the same time, which I wasn't particularly interested in either one of those things. Um, I don't know where she been, and that's like when somebody called me a butterhead. I'm like, got all pissed, man. I was gonna fight three dudes, and I was walking toward them, and I'm like, wait a minute, the hell's a butterhead? You know, because they were trying to sell me weed in like the most one of the most notorious parts of Canton, probably the most notorious part of Canton, because I didn't give a shit when I was in my 20s, and I was walking through like this really bad area, and there was like, and they were just like teenagers, and there's three of them, and they were like, "You want to buy some weed?" And I'm like, "Not really, man." And they're like, "That figure's a fucking butterhead." I'm like, "Who the fuck you calling butterhead?" And he was like, you butterhead, and your mama's a butterhead too. And I was like, walking toward him and shit, and getting ready for combat with these three youths. When I was in my 20s, and they were probably in their teens or whatever. They were on bicycles, so they're not very good at the drug game if they can't afford themselves a decent vehicle with some rims or something. So they were like on bicycles, and they rode away from me. But I stopped walking toward them, and I was like, "What the fuck's a butterhead?" I'm like, "I'm not getting a fight over a word I don't even know." And then I went and asked somebody. They're like, "Oh, butterhead means you're soft in the head from doing crack." They thought because you got to be doing something in the hood, right? You got to be doing snorting, smoking, or doing something. So if you're not into weed, then they're calling me a crackhead. Butterhead equals crackhead because crackheads are soft in the head. So yeah, they just that's where they came up with that. Plus, I was thin, um, and probably um, pale looking. Well, I think I qualify. I don't qualify for the thin part no more. But I had something else to go with that, but I don't remember. Who remembers all that shit? I just know that was like a notorious part of a very bad city that I was walking through. But I didn't give a shit. I walked through a part in Akron, and I got back there, and there was people like wondering how I was still alive. They're like, man, that place is on the news every night with people that have been shot, stabbed, or otherwise inconvenienced. What the hell is your white ass doing? Black guy's talking to me. It's like, what the hell is your white ass doing walking through that neighborhood? And I, I was like, well, I'm not from here. I didn't know nothing about it. He was like, that place is on the news every evening. And back the local news station, as it's like the worst area. And I remember like walking through it, and I'm like, I did notice like there's nobody like similar complected to me around here, and a couple people were like laughing because they saw me. So it was like I was in Harlem or something. They were like, "Are you lost, cuz?" And they started laughing at me and shit. I just kept walking. So I don't care. I'm not, uh, you know, not a racist type person. It's like I don't care about shit like that. So, you know, I didn't care much about my personal safety either. It's actually why I never got beat up, bugged, robbed, or anything like that. The worst thing that happened to me is I got hit with a water bottle. That's about it. Uh, but, you know, just a certain attitude that you carry, not give a fuck type attitude that you carry, and like, if you know how to act, and if you're large enough, um, you can act like a tough guy and be 5'2" and 135 pounds. It ain't gonna help you. But if you're 6'1" and you know and fairly sizable, which that used to be a decent size back in the day, um, and you're walking like you don't give a fuck, it's a different story. But anyways, yeah, I have to rewatch that video, like I said, to see if it's worth posting. Um, not that if it's worth posting, it's like if I can get away with posting it. I mean, if like it says in the video, if it's like it would alienate what little family I have left, and I got like very little family or friends left in this world. And like when I got upset over possibly being banned from eBay and committing a crime and all that, it's like I really don't have anybody to call anyway, except for a guy that never annoys me, but he's always pretty hammered. And he did make the switch from hard liquor to beer, so he couldn't quit drinking, but he could quit drinking the hard liquor, and he just sticks with beer. So, but he's always nice to me. Um, and I got my other friend, that's the cop guy, but he's always wrapped up in stuff, and he's very busy. And I think he's in Pennsylvania now on some sort of family retreat. I don't know. They're trying, like, in vain to keep their mother grounded in some kind of reality, which it's a lost cause. You know, it's she doesn't even. It's to the point where she doesn't recognize her own family, her sons. And pictures on the wall. You know, she doesn't. She's, she's pretty well gone. I don't know if kind of stuff runs in the family, but my mom was the same way, except for a lot less talkative, because she would just sit there and talk about God knows what. I can't understand her. But she either gets really quiet or talks like a whole bunch about stuff that makes no sense. Um, but that could be probably maybe the purpose of why he's on that retreat type deal with the family members, to get all the family together around the matriarch, if you want to call her that. And try to get her to stay connected to this world. But I don't know. I think like you don't generally get to choose when to leave the world, and there's a lot of controversy about entering the world and about leaving it, about abortions and about euthanasia. A lot of that is like, do we have the right over to have say so over our own lives? You know, Now the aborted fetus, it doesn't have any say, it doesn't have any control, but the sentient human being, such as myself, um, has control. Like if I felt my mind slipping, if people were like, "You don't know me, you don't know me," and in other days I did know them, and I would remember that shit. It's like, oh, it's time for me to go, because depending on the life you had, like dementia's or like losing your mind is always terrifying, but it depends upon the kind of life you had. Like that's why it was so horrible for my mother, is because she had a horrible life. So her losing her mind was just a fucking nightmare. And now, like with um, her sister, it's not as bad as far as from her perspective, because she didn't have the same kind of life. She didn't marry a killer, you know. Um, she didn't watch her children suffer, and she doesn't have feelings of heavy guilt and the kind of misery that my mother went through. So, you know, losing her mind is just like, um, she was like, she gets irritable, grouchy, mean, and stuff like that. Whereas my mom was like outright terrified, horrified, um, it's really sad, and, really bad. But that is like the question. It's like, and this is where I'm a proponent of belief in God. I think it's a useful thing and all, but that's where like the main clash comes in with abortion and euthanasia. Is we don't have the right to control our own lives. God gives life. God has that right. You know. Well, come on down, inhabit this body, and yeah, you make the choice. But anyways, I don't want to go into all that. I got my own ideas about that, but they're complex, and basically, it's not going to be helpful. I mean, I don't think of God as like having having personality, emotions, and it's more of like leaning toward the Eastern philosophy is God is a ubiquitous, all powerful entity who is all powerful in the fact that I just don't want to go into it, man. I just don't want to go into my religious philosophy, but it's not like all powerful like Morgan Freeman. You're fixed, or oh God, I think is the old version. It was George Burns or Magic. It's a little different, you know. But that goes into weird. Is the heater on? It's been getting cold here tonight. That goes into very difficult, weird philosophical questions that generally just cause controversy. Religion and politics. That's why you don't talk about those things. So they generally tend to be divisive, and like as far as the whole God thing, if you want to talk about that, It's like all you got to say is like, yeah, this is what I believe. This is what I think, and that's all you got to do. You just don't say this is the way it is. You know, this is how I know. What do you know, little man? What do you know, you little ant? Yeah, you're not even like a mote of dust. You're not even a speck of sand on a beach when you're talking about eternity and the vastness of the universe or possible multi-universe. Just because you have a certain amount of sentience and awareness of the fact that you exist, you think you can understand eternity or any kind of entity behind all of this. You can only say like, I believe this, I believe that, this is what I think, this is what I think. The problem gets in there when people start saying that they know shit, and and as soon as you say you know and set yourself up as an authority figure and you start acting in the place of God and like I'm a special dude, I wear a funny hat, like, or I wear a turban on my head, or like I'm a special guy, and like that's where the problems come in. That's also why, like biblically, um, even I should say even biblically, it's like the most prized quality. If you read the whole Bible, is humility. It's also the thing that mankind, myself included, struggle with the most is humility. Um, Understanding that, yeah, those are just your thoughts, ideas, beliefs, and opinions. And God can't say, like, the opinions, thoughts, and ideas expressed by this little speck of sand on an eternal beach do not necessarily represent those of the beach itself. You know, the idea is so absurd to me that somebody would, we have such a short little time as sentient beings, and like we're a drop of water in an eternal sea, and we think like, oh yeah, we can understand this shit. Come on, man, get real. The intelligent person understands the limits of his own intelligence. The stupid person is the person that stands up and thinks that they can lead people and tell them about God and all that stuff. It's like, that's something I wanted to work on, but of course, I started to work on, and then things went to shit in this building. But I was gonna like work on using you actually using visual aids and pictures and shit, and work on like a philosophical treatise, if you want to call it that, about where these problems come from, or how uh, human beings shoot themselves in the foot with this whole idea of God because they don't recognize it as an idea. It's an idea, it's a thought. They think they have some kind of access to it because, like, a guy like me who's had that certain experience where, like, whoa, that consciousness expanding experience. It's like just because your consciousness got experience, or you had some kind of religious awakening, or what Eric Fromm calls the X experience, it doesn't mean you understand anything. It just means that's just like built into the human experience. It's just part of being a human being, is the potentiality for that, and that gets expressed in different ways. This happens to be my area of interest and expertise, and I'm sure I'm just being tiresome at this point about it. Um, yeah, so I'll just leave that drop and listen to the dogs bark outside. The dog has stopped howling up upstairs. But I'm very glad I rescheduled my appointment, since I got like further emotional upset to deal with now and further CRPS sickness. I feel terrible. And yeah, I can understand the motivations behind what happened last night, but it's just they just don't get it. And it's like, yeah, they just don't get it. Um, Man, what are you gonna do? And for me, it looks like what I'm going to do is end up being alone. I mean, I've always been alone, like forever. But I mean, like really alone in the world. Like it just the people in my life are like dropping like flies, and I don't mean they're dying. I mean, I'm just having to say like I can't deal with your bullshit. Can't deal with your bullshit either. Yeah, all you want is drugs or money, so you're gone, and then you're gone, and then like yeah, you're gone. You know, just, and at some point it'll be like yeah, all these damaged people. It's like it's gonna end up being alone. Um, See, I had a thought that like there's an expression. It's like if you wake up in the morning and uh, you meet a guy in the course of your day, and you think that guy is an asshole, he's probably an asshole. But if you wake up in the morning and you go through your whole day and everyone you meet, you think is an asshole, it's probably you that are the asshole. So I kind of apply that sort of like self reflection or introspection and say like maybe I'm the one with the problem, you know. But really, I just have to protect myself from damaged people. You know, I don't. I thought about it like maybe I'm the guy with the issue. Like I do have the issue of like hatreds I can't shed. You know, but you can't go around questioning your own like emotions because those emotions may be there for a good reason. So you can't go around like, well, I shouldn't feel this way. You feel how you feel. That the way you feel might be there for a good reason. So you have to trust yourself and you have to trust those emotional reactions that connect you with the world. Like, yeah, I'll tell you what, if you got a family member and you get sprayed in the face with bug poison and they side with the guy that sprayed you in the face with bug poison, don't question your emotions. Don't question how you feel about it. You know, I'm talking about shit like that. Like that. That was actually like, I can't believe this. You know, and I had to just like not talk about it. It's like you're dealing with crazy people here. Okay, how are you going to justify somebody spraying me in the face with poison and you're supposed to love me? And you're siding with the guy that sprayed me in the face with poison. I've told that story before, but they were trying to make the point, well, that guy's just protecting himself. And I'm like, by making you sign that, and, you know, acting like I'm the one that's being unreasonable because I won't sign a paper over 500 measly dollars, which ain't shit to me. And it's like, no, you're missing the point. I'm not even going to take the guy's fucking money. You're not listening. You're missing the point, and that's just bad form and being a bad friend. If you're taking the side of a guy who sprays your friend in the face with bug poison and makes him sick for 3 days. So what I'm saying is like, don't question your emotions. Uh, you can question your logic. You can question um, your perceptions as far as like what really happened here, what's this about, or you can examine your own. You can examine your emotions, but you know they're probably there for a reason. You know, like why is this having such an effect on me? You know, and it's like, but don't like say you don't have a right to those emotions. You know, and so like these people that I've been just like scratching off a list, like we're done. Have fun with eternity. Um, there's reasons behind it, and so don't. And also, like it's usually takes multiple offenses because everybody like screws up or has a bad day. my stomach is growling like crazy because I can't eat. I'm going to experience some weight loss here pretty soon. If this keeps up with things upsetting me. Those are just three things. I mean, the sister thing's a big thing that happened last night. But like losing 120 odd dollars or more, whatever. I don't know. I'd have to look it up to get the exact figure. It's not that big a deal. Possibly getting suspended from eBay is a pretty big deal. Those are like three things in the space of like 4 days. So uh, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning toward like that guy just taking my money. The guy whose picture I stole because he hasn't shipped the item. He's a professional, like 6,000 sale type professional. I think he has a store set up too because you like if you buy an eBay store, it lessens your seller's fees. So you pay like more at first, but in the long run you pay less. So why is he not sending a tracking number with this $80 card that I was blackmailed into buying? Um, so I kind of think he's going to take my money because he realizes that I'm not going to complain about it because I broke a law and I admitted that I broke a law. And he has me in print saying I didn't have no choice because I already like turned myself into eBay accidentally. So I kind of think he's going to screw me. I'd be surprised if I get the card, even if I get the card, unless like the guy on the card has like a ridiculous season. I'm not going to make any money on it. I'm not going to lose that much money on it. I'm not going to make a lot of money. It's just an ugly card. There's only 10 of them in the world, but it's just a ugly card. You know, it's rare, but it's ugly. So people don't seem to like it. Um, but yeah, I think that guy's going to screw me because everybody uses tracking numbers now, especially professionals. Because you get use a tracking number like with the guy in Zanesville that I'm having the problem with. I will have proof that it was delivered to his abode, and I can be like, "Look, pal, what can I do? It got delivered. The post office says it's delivered to your address. The fact that you didn't get it is not my fault." And but I'll just end up giving him other cards and keeping my 100% feedback because I got so much stuff to sell. Like, this is going to sound crazy, I'm sure, to you, but I bought 10 Baker Mayfield uh, PSA 9s for about $91 a piece. So it's about almost $1,000 I spent on these cards. Uh, but it's an investment type of deal. And it's a graded card, so I don't have to worry about any conflict with anybody. They know exactly what they're getting. They go for like, I pay $91 a piece. They go for just like 100 to 120 right now. So they because of the bites, the ridiculous bites that PayPal especially, it's 10% of your money they take, your final value fee they call it. So in other words, sell something for 70, eBay takes 7 of it. That's your final value fee. But like, I had $44 that I transferred into PayPal this morning. They took like $4 off of it. I was like, what the fuck, man? The fees on PayPal have gotten outrageous, and it's like I ran across a YouTube video that was called something like "The Origin of the PayPal Mafia." You know, like they're crooks. I didn't click on it or whatever, but I remember it's a memorable title, "The PayPal Mafia." But anyways, so point about me bringing up spending almost $1,000 on these cards is like I'm heavily invested in it. I cannot screw around with my feedback. I have to take the loss. This guy could have the cards and be playing some kind of game. Uh, I don't know why he would do that, or the postal guy. the package could have got stolen, which happens. I've had mail stolen. I asked the guy, um, if he lived in an apartment complex. He does. So the package could have got stolen, especially if like they deliver it at noon and he doesn't get home from work until 6, and it's just sitting outside. Um, or the mailman could have made a mistake, but it's marked as delivered, and if it's marked as delivered to his address, which will be recorded by the post office, um, I'm within my rights to say like tough luck, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to screw up my feedback. I'd rather take the loss because, like I said, I got thousands of dollars invested in this. I'm very good at it. Uh, as long as I don't drift too far into the realm of speculation, like I'm not going to lose anything on the Baker Mayfield cards, the $1,000, well, the $910 lot. I won't lose anything on that, but I might not make anything on that. But like I bought a whole bunch of this guy named Donovan Peoples Jones. Like spent a whole bunch of money on it, and the guy has done nothing. He's like way down on the depth chart in the Browns as a wide receiver, and he's going to be like a kick or a punt returner. But he went to a big time school, Michigan, and was kind of a high profile player. He's a big dude, and as long as he can get some playing time on the field, the Browns could deal him to somebody else. Where if he doesn't move up the depth chart and get any time as a wide receiver, which is unlikely that he'll do that, they'll just like use him as trade bait, and then he'll get his chance with another team. So that's like an investment for down the road. I got That's where I run into problems is when I do that because people get hurt, they get tired of playing, they don't get their chance. You know, like I did that with a guy named Brett Perryman, and he's going to have his chance finally this year. Um, Not Brett Perryman, that's his dad, Brashad. It's a horrible name, Perryman. But he played briefly for the Browns, and I was like, "Whoa, this guy's got talent," But he didn't have. We got him like mid-season, and he got traded to the Buccaneers, who have like one of the best wide receiver tandems in the world. And I'm like, well, he ain't gonna get no playing time there. But then miraculously for him, at least, both of their starting wide receivers got hurt. He took over for like 4 or 5 games at the end of the season and showed out. So he got a big contract with the Jets, and he's going to be like the Jets' number one receiver this year. I got like tons of expensive memorabilia of his. So that speculation may pan out, and I may make some really good dollars off of that. I got tons of limited valuable things because you could pick him up so cheap because he was never getting a chance to show his talent. So point being, more boring eBay talk is like I'm very good at the flip. I'm not very good at investing. So I really should stay away from that. It may pan out with this Brashad guy. Poor guy. Horrible name to have. It may work out with him. It hasn't worked out well for me in the past when I speculate and say, well, I think this guy might be a good player. It's not that there's too many variables involved, even if you are a good talent evaluator, which I don't even know if you could call me that. But as far as like the business side of it and the flip, I can do the flip really well. Like buy a card for 27.50, like I did last week, and sell it for 120 plus. Uh, Buy 9 cards for $18 last year, sell 6 of them for $50 this year. Have 3 of them left over, and they'll sell for like $15 a piece. So invest $18, you come away with 100. That kind of shit I can do. I can do that really well. So, but that's why getting suspended off of eBay would be a real problem for me. It's like because I don't have a reputation on any other platform, and I don't know how to use any other platform, and my nerves are fried all the time, and I don't want to learn how to use any other platform. I really have to relearn eBay because they changed the rules from the last time I used it. The last time I used eBay on a regular basis, I was trying to raise money, like I said, to get my sister, who was here last night for the first time in almost 3 years, and my brother-in-law's cats fixed because um, they were not in a good way, and they had cats pissing all over their house because they had like female cats in the house and a male cat, and keep the male cat separate, but the male could smell the females in heat, so he's pissing on everything, and just a nightmare. It's like they would have like cats inside their house that they kept locked inside, which they always seemed to find a way out and get pregnant. But they had female cats in estrus in heat in their house, and male cats would be like pissing all over like the outside of their house. So cat piss, that ammonia smell. And a lot of times it would come in the house because I would sit in the basement with my brother-in-law, and he had like these homemade windows that he would remove in the summertime, and he'd be like, whoa, because the smell of cat piss would come wafting in through the window because they had cats that were in heat, that were locked inside. But they always find a way out because they're so horny. They always find a way out and come back pregnant. So, you know, they had that situation inside their house where they had a male cat that was, I think maybe the female cats do that shit too, but that's like how they communicate with each other. Uh, Pheromonally, through urine. Very attractive. There's a hilarious video of a guy getting peed on by a tiger. it's only, it's, I ought to post that. Yeah, getting scent marked by a tiger is like having like 2 gallons of piss thrown in your face. Yeah, so if you're ever by a tiger cage, and this is a stupid one of them stupid zoos that are probably in a foreign country where life is held a little more cheaply, because you should not be able to get that close to a tiger cage where you can get pissed on like that. But it's a funny video, and it reminds me of like um, the panda. Other countries got different ethics about things. So there's a video of a guy, cute little panda bear, okay, and it's a little Korean dude. I think somebody from the Pacific Rim. Let's not do the racial thing, but that's how I remember him in my head, as a little Korean dude with a denim jacket on. Well, denim is real tough. That's the problem. It's not a tearaway material. So he's leaning with his back up against a panda cage. The panda grabs a hold of his jacket and just starts slamming him into the bars like over and over again. He's crying and screaming with the agony of it all. And man, you don't mess with animals. You don't get that close to them. And there's another news story. I hope I'm not like setting myself up here for like having to post a bunch of links. But there's another news story that I heard that's just horrific, where these are chimpanzees, and chimpanzees have the strength of between 6 and 10 men, a single chimpanzee. But these were not just chimpanzees; these were like abused and mentally disturbed. It's basically a chimpanzee insane asylum. And this guy was talking all nice. They don't have video of it, but he was talking all nice to the chimpanzees, and he got too close to the cage, and the cage was like a chain link fence, and the chimps had been trying to dig out underneath, so there was a little bit of an opening in the fence. And one chimp grabbed one of his legs, another chimp grabbed the other one of his legs. They dragged him inside the chimp insane asylum, and they drug him across the ground for 200 yards. And luckily for him, his face didn't get ripped off. He didn't get murdered, but he got messed up. He had numerous injuries, and there's a video of him sitting in a chair talking, and he has his face. And I'm like, well, at least you have your face. You're up on that one woman that appeared on Oprah. You got your face, you know. But it's like, yeah, I don't care if it's like a cute little monkey, or if it's a cute little raccoon, or it's like a sweet little panda bear. If it's a wild animal, and especially if it's in a cage, it's probably not happy. Don't get nowhere near it. It's like those raccoons that are outside that are really cute and stuff that I feed and I talk all sweet to out the window. If one of them ever got on my ass, I need stitches and triple digits. Uh, they will ruin your day. And like my dad knew somebody that had one for a pet. They're not really domesticatable. They're gorgeous animals. They're really neat, but they always revert to their wild nature. It doesn't really fucking matter. Like I saw a video of cute video of like a 30-pound raccoon that this person was like fighting with, and like they were play fighting, and he was rolling it across the ground with his hand and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, one day that's gonna turn real ugly, and that animal's gonna snap on you. Um, like I said, my dad knew somebody that had a pet raccoon that decided it wanted to be a wild animal again at the expense of the person who was had turned it into a pet. So you just have to have respect for things with teeth and claws and superior strength to you. As far as the tiger piss thing, and also superior urine output. So yeah. Um, so now I get to be sick and have appetite problems for a couple more days. It's a good weight loss program anyway. Um, but yeah, I'll review that video and see if I want to post it or not. Um, See if it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's truthful. So I also feel like it's gonna end badly anyway. So what difference does it make? You know, seriously, it's all gonna end badly. So what difference does it make? I mean, like I reference in the video, it's like sometimes you get a package deal with people. You gotta either have both of them or none of them. That's how it was with my parents. Because my mom didn't drive, and my dad was like control freak. So, excuse me. When I had problems with my dad, that means I didn't get to see my mom no more. And like, she did not like to talk on the phone, and she always would tell people she didn't know what to say to me on the phone. I would call her occasionally um, and talk to her, but not that much, and because our conversations, were awkward and weird, and we were always like dancing around the ultimate truth of the family, and it's just like, yeah, it's like I didn't see her in person until my dad actually had like a stroke or something and got put into a nursing home, and then my mom was dying of dementia, and I saw her. She never. I don't think she ever used my name. I kind of felt like she recognized me a couple of times, and I would hold her hand. Occasionally she would say something um, that was vaguely connected to reality, but yeah, she at least got to die in her own house. Well, she didn't get to die in her own house. She died in the hospital, but uh, um, she at least got to go through her decline in her own house, um, surrounded by people who loved her because she's a very kind and nice woman. But at the same time, because of the dementia, and like I said earlier, because of like marrying a murderer, watching her children suffer, and having one of them commit suicide, and feeling all kind of guilt and stuff, it's like it was really horrible, and she suffered horribly, and through terror and fear, and um, yeah, it's a different like scenario for her sister who married a different type of man, and you know had different her outcomes as far as child rearing, and a different type of life altogether. So now that she's going through what my mom went through, it's like it's bad, and she doesn't. But she's more angry than afraid. She's like, they got her on Ativan to mellow her out, so she's not as angry, but she's angry and mean, which is a lot better than terrified, horrified, and just in a total state of panic and fear upon, you know, several thousand occasions from what I heard. Um, yeah, they got her, I guess, mellowed out now on some good old benzos, which, like I said, in her situation doesn't matter. I guess I got to write correspond. I was talking to this guy that's got a bad knee through the email, which I generally don't do. I don't generally like I said, I don't talk on the phone. I don't correspond with people and stuff like that. But this guy is like, you know, he's wanting to try benzos, and I was like, first of all, it's not a pain pill. They're not going to prescribe it for you for pain. I have to talk to this guy. I've been putting it off. Second of all, I don't know what kind of warning I could possibly give you. I don't want to make it the forbidden fruit and enticing and seem like it's a good idea. You know, like don't do that, don't do that. It's a sure way to make somebody do it. It's like what I told, instead of like telling my nephew when I was being a father figure dude, like, don't do drugs. I told him, man, at least wait for your life to suck before you start experimenting with drugs and shit. Give your life a chance. You know, I approached it from that angle, and instead of like drugs are bad, don't do drugs. It's like, well, people say they're bad and they tell you not to do it. They're probably interesting and good because they say other stuff's bad. It's good, you know. Or it's like people also are rebellious and they don't like being told what to do. But yeah, it's like you don't go and say, I need a pain pill. How about a benzo? That's not how that works. Uh, the only side effect that could possibly be any pain related thing is Valium's often used, especially as a muscle relaxant. So benzodiazepines often have a muscle relaxant effect. And I know for a fact that Valium is what's prescribed to me as when I was after one of my surgeries. So I remember mixing. I remember like deliberately fucking with the nursing staff and taking Valium because I was taking Valium and opioids at the same time. And I was really miserable, man. I was like beyond miserable. I was in a cast, you know, like a literal cast from having a surgery, and a drainage tube was put in my side. It was uncomfortable and horribly painful. So I manipulated the nursing staff into mixing up when my meds were taken, so I could mix benzos and opioids at the same time, and that actually backfired on me horribly. Which I woke up. You know how hospital beds are, where they have the railing and then they have the mattress. Somehow I woke up wedged in between the mattress and the railing, sideways, just stuck there, and I'm claustrophobic. And luckily for me, when I woke up, either I don't remember how it went down, but I wasn't stuck in that position for very long, or I would remember it. But yeah, it was also fun being a claustrophobe and having like at first after back surgery back then they started you out with a full cast, like all the way down past your ass and around your neck. And then once they removed the cast, they had what they called a removable back brace with Velcro straps. I remember like for some reason I had the cast, and I remember like there was a green stain on it from where they put the drainage tube in my side. I do remember that about it, and I don't even know why I had it, but I was like, throw that thing the hell out. I don't know why I had that. That's just what my memory is telling me. But anyways, I obviously, my mom, being a religious person, used to call it my breastplate of righteousness because you had to like roll into the bottom part of the cast whenever I was allowed to take it off but if I ever had to sit up or move at all, I had to have this removable back brace on. So, I would have to roll on my side, and my mom would lay the cast down underneath me, and then I'd roll into the cast. Why do I keep saying cast? I'd roll into the back part of the back brace, and then they put the top part over top of my chest. I still remember that thing. Believe me, I wore it for 6 months, and it had Velcro loops, and then you cinched up the loops, and then I could sit up, or if I needed to walk to the bathroom, um, I did that. And I remember this is the kind of guy my brother was and still is to an extent, but I had to have like an elevated toilet seat, you know. And my mom asked him, I remember hearing this, my mom asked him while she was helping me out of bed and to get to the bathroom, because I obviously was all fucked up from having CRPS and major back surgery. But my brother said it's bad enough I gotta touch that thing when I want to use the bathroom, let alone have to, or I think he said disgusting thing, let alone have to put it on. And he's complaining. That's how, that's my brother. That's my dear sweet family. But my mom was a really good nurse and a really good caretaker. My dad, not so much. Sometimes I would be stuck with my brutish father, like putting socks on my feet and stuff. It's like I would be at his mercy. Yeah, being at my dad's mercy was not a thing he wanted at any time, in any way, shape, or form. He had so little empathy for other people that he could not figure out why we wanted to sit close to the TV when we were nearsighted. He was farsighted. He could not figure out farsighted and nearsightedness. He's like, I don't understand how you can sit that close to the TV because he's farsighted. He's a farsighted guy who had nearsighted children. And it would irritate him that we would sit up close to the TV because, and he couldn't figure out that out why. That's how much empathy he had for other human beings. It's like he could not figure that out. That was a great mystery to him. Like, how can you stand being that close to the TV? He'd always like sit really far away from the TV because he was farsighted, and being dysfunctional, did not go to the eye doctor. You know, so it's just more madness. Um, yeah, I don't know how any of that tied together at all. It doesn't really matter. Um, just random Picasso-like images from oh man, from a Hieronymus Bosch life. There's some. I'm not a painting guy, but that was pretty good. I gotta admit. Because Hieronymus Bosch, I believe, is famous for painting scenes of horror, and Picasso is famous for like abstract things that are just pieced together. Uh, you know, in other words, people looked kind of like people, things looked kind of like things, but they didn't really match up too good, like my stories or my general narrative here. So yeah. Um, how long will I be sick? That's the question. I got sick from CRPS poisoning, if you want to call it that. CRPS emotional poisoning. I got sick. I don't know what day that was. Over getting busted for stealing photographs. And then that was further compounded by this guy telling me that he didn't get cards that the post office said were delivered. Now compounded further by seeing my sister in my house. Well, kind of standing in a doorway for the first time in ever. Um, but yeah, I'll save that for the other video if I feel like posting it. If not, I'll talk about it later in more detail. Um, I don't know. At this, I don't know, man. I know I need to shave. Yeah, yeah. I don't know how far to go on here. For me, like the truth is the truth, and truth always has a way of coming out one way or another. So it doesn't matter as long as I'm not telling lies about people. I'm just telling the truth. I mean, if you don't like the truth, that's your problem. Um, at the same time, people have a right to their privacy and stuff. And I know for a fact that certain individuals saw what was in the video that I said last night. They would like be a problem over it, but I would just be like, just another person gone. You know, like the Johnny Cash song "Hurt." Everyone I know goes away in the end. That's how my life is. I can sing about as good as him. Oh, I've never got Johnny Cash, but he's very, near death when he did the famous "Hurt" video that I'm sure you're aware of. Great video, great song, um, great tearjerker. But yeah, one of the lines in it is "Everyone I know goes away in the end." That's how it's been for me. I don't know if it's going to be the end, but that's how it's been for me. Because I found out, like, oh yeah, once you get to be too high maintenance for people, you get to be too much brother, you're not really of use to them anymore. They're cast aside, push you away. Uh, yeah, I know you come here to be cheered up, so that's why I always include material like this. I make sure to, uh, you know, because I am your ray of sunshine, obviously. So, yeah, I call myself Mr. Sunshine, which was a failed TV show starring Jeffrey Tambor. A useless piece of knowledge I will not pick out of my limbic system. I think that's where your memory is stored, and throw out the window to never be heard from again. It's like I can't remember important things, but I can remember a failed TV show from the 80s called Mr. Sunshine, starring Jeffrey Tambor, best known for his role as a crazy guy in the movie And Justice for All, starring Al Pacino with his famous "I'm out of order, you're out of order" speech at the end of it. I'm also going to take that piece of trivia, throw it out the window too. I gotta like clear all this crap out of my head to make room for, I don't know, like important things, like when my doctor's appointments are, and like another thing that happened, uh, in case I don't post the other video, is like I had medication problems. Like I don't have any blood thinners left, and they didn't refill my prescription for whatever reason. I'm not really worried about it because I haven't been having much arrhythmia, and I can just take aspirin to help thin my blood. But the type of blood thinner that I'm on, it's cool in a way because it gets out of your system fast, which is cool because if you like have to go get like, I don't know, anything involving getting cut, like, or where there's blood involved, like when I had my teeth pulled at the dentist, you can just keep taking your blood thinners and then quit taking them like a little bit before your doctor's appointment, and you're good to go. I didn't even mention that I was on a blood thinner when I went in there. That doctor's office is so inept anyway, or that dentist office is so inept anyway. They suggested that I take ibuprofen for my pain from a pulled and bleeding tooth when ibuprofen is a blood thinner. Mull that over a little while. That's how good my dentist is. It's like, at least they didn't say take some aspirin, but ibuprofen, also a blood thinner and not something you want to take after getting a tooth pulled. You need that thing to clot. That's why they give you the gauze and stuff, and you're waiting for it to form a clot. Very important, and then you have to protect the clot. If you haven't had a tooth pulled before, you know all this. Um, so, yeah, but I can't tie it all together like I usually do. My head's all fucked up now from CRPS, emotional abuse, or whatever. The CRPS is actually abusing me. The people that do the emotional shit, they don't understand it. So, it's like my dad with the TV. They just don't understand it. Pretty simple, but like, yeah, don't complicate my fucking life with emotional bullshit. It makes me sick, but they still do. It's a matter of their needs being more important than your needs. They have a need that they feel is more important than your need. That's like with my sister and why we parted ways. She had a need to say and do whatever the hell she wanted. That's like a big part of her identity because our dad was a dragon. Of course, that's what she used to call him. So it was a real part of her self-esteem and her identity that no matter what, she didn't care if she got smacked in the face or no matter what, she was going to speak her mind to my father. And I was like, yeah, that's easy for you to say because you're a girl. Yeah, talk to your older brother about it sometime. But there was two sets of kids in the family, so the older set of kids got beat on, and then my brother committed suicide, and then the younger set of kids just got terrorized in general and didn't get beat on very much. So, you know, but that's like it was a big thing with her. It's like I speak my mind no matter what. I am brave when she is brave and shit like that. But it's like you're not really being brave. I'm not my dad. I'm not going to smack you in across the face. Uh, so all I'm asking you to do is to be careful around me and not change your personality, but not like say hurtful shit and just you know act like a sensible, normal human being. But it's too much to ask. Um, I forget the way she phrased it, but I'm going to paraphrase her. It was more or less like, I gotta be me, I gotta be me. There's no other way to be, I gotta be me, fuck you. I don't know how that, it's probably a Cohen song. I don't know how that show tune goes, but that's more or less what she said. Is like, well, I gotta be me, I gotta do me. And that's why I told her, I was like, you're more concerned with doing you at the expense of me, so I can't have that. It's like, yeah, but that's really an important part of it. Her identity to her was like, I'm gonna say what I think. Fuck the consequences. It's like that's a real important part of her identity and her self-esteem was that. And it's like she practiced that with me. Like when she hung up on the phone with me with rheumatoid arthritis, she was like, "You weren't letting me talk." And it's like, okay, but I think it's kind of more important to let me talk since I'm the guy that's going to find out if he has a crippling disease on top of his other crippling disease. Your opinions may be like really important to you, but uh, in this circumstance, you're not going to have to like worry about crippling, horrific pain on top of a crippling, horrific pain disease and not being able to walk and deciding whether you should end your life. It's like I sort of have bigger concerns right now than listening to your opinions. This is the part where if you're a normal person, you are just supportive and quiet and you hang on the phone with somebody because they have in-call waiting and you wait for their doctor to call to tell them whether their whole life is fucked or not. Luckily for me, the results from the tests came back negative and I didn't have rheumatoid arthritis, but I had a pain. Instead of a pain in the knee, I had a pain in the ass sister, who I saw last night. So, but yeah, I remember telling that. I've said that before, but it's just, I can still see those images in my head. Every time I would tell that to a psych person, their jaw would drop. I would just want to go up and like push their chin back up. You know, like that even surprised like people in the psychiatric profession. Like really? That somebody would do that. I just want to go up and like push their chin back up. Quit catching flies there. Um, that one woman especially that was very sensitive about her age because I would refer to myself as old and it would piss her off because she was the same age as me. And I said not young, so I changed saying that I was old to not young to appease her. But She was my psychologist, psych person for a while, and yeah, she was like sat there with her mouth open when I told her that story. Like, really? It's like you already have CRPS and all these other problems, and you're actually on the phone with your sister waiting for a rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis, and she hangs up on you because you're not letting her talk. You know, she's gonna figure that shit out. That's all old news, though. I'm just being boring and tedious. And because if you're watching me now, you've heard all this crap before. And yeah, I need to drink some water, and I don't know about eating. I don't want to eat. My appetite was coming back yesterday before she showed up. I had a really good rice, like and beef and broccoli and vegetable medley thing. And this big, they did well by me Global Meals on this holiday weekend. So I guess tomorrow is Labor Day. Yeah, that's the way I used to remember. That's the way I used to not get confused about Labor Day and Memorial Day is because one of them started the school year and one of them bookended the school year. So, Memorial Day is somewhere toward the end of the school year. I can always remember Labor Day because labor, school. So I think tomorrow is Labor Day, but do not quote me on anything in here without the expressed written consent of Major League Baseball. So, yeah, I used to think that was funny. Those different announcements that they would have. That's one I always found funny. It was like reproduction of this broadcast may not be used without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. It's like, yeah, there's about 1 million baseball games a year. It's like somebody is going to tape and make a bootleg out of your baseball game and sell it to people when there's one tomorrow. It's like I'm in the middle of watching one right now, and by the time I'm done watching this one, they'll be playing another one. So yeah, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure tomorrow's Labor Day. This is a Labor Day weekend, so if somehow they gave me a holiday pie, which I haven't tapped into. Maybe I'll eat that for breakfast. I don't know. And my sister's cake is still in the refrigerator. And the further inconvenience me, it's like it's really cold at the back of my refrigerator. So this cake's taking up all this room in my refrigerator, pushing all this stuff toward the back of my refrigerator, which will freeze things like milk. So frozen milk, as you probably know, doesn't work. So I wasted a half a gallon of milk because it's frozen. Once it's frozen, it separates and it just gets weird, and you don't want no part of it. So it was frozen, and it's like when uh, the cake was pushed in there last night, and I'm giving details from the other video that I may or may not put up. But yeah, that's in there too. The point is, I got a cake and a pie in the refrigerator, and yeah, if I'm going to give up all the details, and I just was fresh off the story or fresh off the incident, I just don't have anybody to talk to, so I might post that too if you really, I don't know, um, find me all that goddamn interesting. I don't know. Yeah, I just know that I'm tired of being CRPS sick, and I don't know when it's going to end. And yeah, but that was a detail from the cake was the peace offering thing. So, but even in the act of giving me a peace offering, they inconvenienced me by pushing all my liquid juices and milk and stuff to the back of my refrigerator, which will freeze milk. The juice will be okay, but will freeze the milk and ruin the milk. But I caught it in time before it froze the milk because that's just the way my refrigerator is currently. But I'm sure this has all been very fascinating and interesting. And yeah, I may watch it back and say, hey, this was okay. I did okay. I never know. I'm not really keeping track. I know one thing is I wasn't able to tie things together like I usually am able to do. Like, yeah, I got on to talking about this because of this, and like go off the path in Mirkwood Forest and then come back around and find the path. It's like I didn't bother. I'm just wandering around in the wilderness of pain, to quote Jim Morrison from a Doors song, in a Roman wilderness of pain. And no, I don't know what that reference or what song that's in, but you might. Uh, Lost in a Roman wilderness of pain. Maybe it's from the end. I don't know. That's a Jim Morrison line. And I'm done. I'll go back to being miserable. Not that I'm not miserable now, but I'm just occupied and therefore less miserable. And yeah, I'll have to, like I said, now I have to watch two videos and watch that other video to see if I can post it or not, or tell the story in cold blood later on instead of like fresh out of the moment. It just depends. You know, I don't know. I get like 20 views maybe on a good day, but the few people that actually stick it out and hang out for these. Um, hey, if I got one person, if I manage to uh, entertain or brighten the day, just one person, that's good enough for me. And it's just that these are just therapy sessions. That's what they've always been. So because I have to do my own therapy because there's no, I'm Hannibal Lecter. There's no psychiatry in the world that's going to cure me. So I have to do my own, and yeah, kind of try to look out for my own sanity. So that's basically what these are about. And besides killing time and amusing myself and playing with words, this one has come to an end though. So I bid thee adieu, which is a Hokie way of saying goodbye.